And hello. Welcome to the Absolute Football Podcast. It is the Premier League show. We're here to talk Premier League. Rebecca is definitely not watching Accrington versus Fleetwood in the corner of her screen. She's definitely on Premier League duty. We hope you're well. You've had a fabulous week. You've enjoyed all of the football. We've got plenty to cover tonight. We've got the Premier League games from the weekend. We've got transfer deadline day, which was bonkers. And all the stuff that came with that. And yes, don't worry, there will be Accrington versus Fleetwood updates if you're interested.
It's 2-2.
It's a Desmond.
Just equalise.
It's a Desmond Aki versus Fleetwood. You just cannot.
Oh, for God's sake.
You cannot beat this drama.
We missed a penalty in first half. We were winning 2-0. It's then gone 2-1, and now we've just conceded. But we're making subs. So.
Oh, I thought you were saying Aki had scored. Sorry.
No, Fleetwood have scored.
My bad.
Grimmy celebration now seems. I thought it was quite savage at the time, but if you're new to the podcast, Rebecca is an Accrington fan. She's also an Everton fan, so she's doubling up with duty today. Hence the love for Accrington Fleetwood going on. But of course, I'll introduce my panel. You've kind of half introduced them anyway. But we do have the man on my left, the wonderful man on my left. Sir Grimmy of Grimmifius is here to talk to us all about football. Grimmy, how are you doing? How's your weekend and week been?
A lot better that United got 3 points. But yeah, it's been good. It's been a nice weekend. And yeah, looking forward to getting stuck in on the Premier League. How are you, sir?
I'm not too bad, my friend. Not too bad. Same thing. Relief. I think relief that got through Saturday, and this week's going quickly. So there's plenty going on. Transfer deadline day was mental yesterday. It was absolutely crazy. I think it was. It seemed busier. Do you agree? Was it busier the transfer window this time, the deadline day, than previous, or was it just it's been a year since the last one? I can't remember.
I feel like it was, yeah, definitely. Like it felt like there was, especially early morning, it felt like there was a lot of stuff that was coming through, and then it was just waiting for sort of the last few pieces to fall into place, and then Guay obviously being the main thing right at the end. But yeah, it definitely was a lot bit busier because I think there was a lot more going into that, even just the last few days, never mind the final day, than there has been really for the past few seasons because they have been relatively quiet.
There was lots of narratives, which I'm sure we're going to get to. And of course, we have returning this for the first appearance of the new season. Rebecca is here. Rebecca, how are you? How's your week been?
I've been on once this season. I have my rant about Everton and Leeds.
Yeah, you had the loss. Sorry. I meant you haven't been on for a win, have you? You haven't been off. We've all won this week. This is very unheard of territory, to be honest.
Yeah, I was better before. But no, yeah, very well, thank you. Excited to be back on covering the Premier League and, like we said, an Everton win and a very good transfer window for us as well.
Very exciting transfer window. And what is exciting is people in the chat as well coming to join us. We have the wonderful Aled. Evening to you, Aled. We have wonderful Simon as well. Evening to you. Aled's a Wrexham fan says, what a mental transfer window from us. Yes. And Aled, do tell us, we saw your statistic earlier regarding Wrexham and Barcelona and your transfer dealings. Do let everybody know in the chat what that was all about as well. The links between Wrexham and Barcelona, this transfer window. And Simon says, the Virtu Trophy. Been there, done that. There you go. Is the Virtu? Is that what we're calling the new football league? Is that there we go. That's the new sponsor.
From the Papa John's to the Bristol Street Motors to then the Virtue. I still refer to it as the Pizza Trophy because I feel like that's the best
Papa John's is better, isn't it? Really, yeah.
Papa John's is that trophy. It's better than Bristol Street Motors because I just don't think you can't have a national trophy with the first word as a city or a team that competes in that. You know, yeah. Papa. There are no Papa John teams. Maybe he owns one somewhere in the world, but don't know. So yes, here we are. We're all here, ready to talk Premier League. So shall we kick off? And we're going to kick off with Wow. Everton, Rebecca, back-to-back wins. Back-to-back wins for Everton. They beat Wolves 3-2 at Molineux. New signings on show. Another Jack Grealish masterclass. Everything's looking rosy at Everton, isn't it, Rebecca? Tell us about how Everton overcame Wolves 3-2.
It feels amazing to actually be able to come on and feel positive talking about Everton and actually be able to talk a win. As we said, we're all here for my rant and my little breakdown I had against Leeds. But no, it's feeling, I know I've said this quite often, but it is feeling a lot more like Everton. We've got a team that can actually play football. We only had one keeper on the bench. We didn't have two. We didn't need to have 18 different goalkeepers on from the under-12s at this point because we have no team. It's actually coming together and it's actually looking a lot more positive. We're a team that's creating chances, that's actually playing quite exciting football from an Everton perspective because we've been there over the seasons of it's been quite dull. It's been quite hard to watch, but oh my God, sorry, Fleetwood nearly scored. But no, we still don't make it easy for ourselves. I mean, the last 10 minutes of that match were the most stressful I think Everton fans have gone through recently. But to now say we've had 3 different goal scorers, Beto has been under some scrutiny and right place, right time to be able to get his, oh God, Devon Matthews is injured now.
Focus, Rebecca. Focus.
Have you ever heard an Everton / Accrington match report? You have one right here.
Yeah, so Beto being on the score sheet, right place, right time to be able to nod that one home. Ilman and Dye, I mean, stand out for us again. It looks like this season the link up between him and Jack Grealish is something that's really special at the minute. And then Dewsbury Hall to open his scoring account with Everton and a great goal as well. I liked his celebration, though. It was quite funny. He just sort of like bounced and ran at the same time. It's like he didn't know what to do. So he was just like, we just start doing whatever. So one player that has been a standout is James Garner. And I've said this quite often. And it's one of them where Everton fans have been a bit hit and miss with him, but they've backed him again now. And it's a really positive performance from him again. Really intelligent on the ball at the minute. And it's just, he's the one that's creating these chances as well. I mean, we have to mention one of our star signings of the summer, Jack Grealish, coming into the side. It's been one of them where a lot were questioning which Grealish we'd get because with everything that's been going on with City, and we just don't know how he was going to fit in with Everton, but he's hit the ground running. Is it like 4 assists in 2 matches?
Yep.
2 consecutive starts as well. And I think he put on his Instagram the other day, the last time he did this was like 2 years ago, maybe even 3. Last time he was able to get this many starts in a row. So it's one of them. It's to now have the Jack Grealish that we all know and love back and just proving himself and showing what he does and the importance of having the team around him as well and having the support and the backing of Moyes as well. He's just fitting perfectly. And like I said, the link up between him and Ilman and Dye and Dewsbury Hall, it is something that's really, really good. And can we also just appreciate Ilman and Dye's celebration? He'll probably get in trouble for it. He got in trouble last season for doing the seagull impression in front of the Brighton fans. But the fact that he did a wolf impression and then put his thumb down and like stuck his tongue out at the Wolves fans, it was just the highlight of the match for me. It was funny and it's just one of them. It just shows like the happiness and the enjoyment within the squad as well. And then like our transfer window, I am very impressed with this. I mean, we have spent quite a bit. Oh God, Kelsey Moon is now injured. Well, this is great. We're just losing half of our team now. No, it has been an exciting transfer window. I mean, how many is it? Like, I've wrote them all down. Let me count. 9 signings this summer. We have had a few outgoings. I mean, Doucouré was one of them. We didn't really know how we'd be able to work around that because we all know what he's done for us and how well he did, but signing Dewsbury Hall in replacement of him has been incredible. Grealish, I mean, it still doesn't feel real that I'm talking about Everton and mentioning Dewsbury Hall and Jack Grealish being in our starting 11. It just doesn't feel right and it doesn't feel real, but it is, and it's amazing. Tyler Diblin, very, very impressed with that signing. It did take us a lot longer than we thought it would. We didn't know whether we would actually get him because of the pricing that Southampton were putting on him, but a very talented youngster that, again, underneath Moyes' wing will be a good one, and it's also buying for the future at this point as well, and looking at the younger ones to invest in, along with the likes of Adam Asnu, who has returned. We have found him after he went missing after Roma. He is back. He's playing for the under-21s tonight against Doncaster, but he's been back on the bench. Oh, we've got a corner.
You know the dog in Up when it just like it would be talking and then it says squirrel. That's instantly what's coming to mind right now.
It feels like if people didn't know you were an Accrington fan watching Accrington, you're doing the Everton match report and then flashbacking to moments live that happened during the game. Oh, there's a corner.
Oh, Grealish.
Yeah. No, I do actually have it on. All right, keeper's got it now. I can carry on. But yeah, and then deadline day signing of Merlin Roll, I believe he's called. Apologies if I've just butchered the pronunciation of that. Another youngster coming in from Germany, so it'll be exciting to see how he fits in, but then it's also just a really exciting time going forward as an Everton fan. We've got quite a few players coming back from injury soon, hopefully, so we'll have the likes of Jared Branthwaite back. And then also we've kept hold of Nathan Patterson because we weren't able to get a right back within the transfer window. So he was heavily linked with a loan move to Seville, but we weren't able to do that because we wouldn't have had cover for the right back position. Even though we are playing Jake O'Brien there, and he's like never played there until coming to Everton, so he's fitting in well. But it's the likes of Seamus Coleman. I don't think we'll be getting longer than about like a half off him if it's to happen in matches. So yeah, we've done well. We've added to the squad well, and I mean another win on the bounce from an incredible atmosphere at Brighton as well. So yeah, it's actually, I'm happy to be coming on the podcast for once.
It's all looking good. It's all looking good for the Blues. The Blues of Goodison. We'll come back to them actually in a minute. I want to say hello to a few people coming into the chat. Aled, we spoke about his stat earlier, talking about Wrexham. It's the stat of Barcelona and Wrexham, comparing the amount spent by both this summer transfer window. There you go, Wrexham and Barcelona on par with other transfer wise. Sean, welcome to you. Says he's in. Imagine if the Papa John's trophy was shaped like an actual pizza. Get that. I'd paint on that, Sean. Get that request off, but make sure that you get the credit for it. No doubt about it. You can't wait for the Leeds Newcastle roundup. Spoiler: It's going on last.
I actually watched that game.
Oh, I feel for you.
That's the pain I had to go through.
That is rough.
I have.
Simon is also happy to see David Moyes doing well after the way he was treated by West Ham and their fans. We have the wonderful Charlotte is here as well. She says, "Oh, good, what a team tonight." To Charlotte as well, and she's loving it because Grealish is getting her those points in FPL, which is what really, really matters. Grimmy, I'll bring you in as well with our Everton back-to-back wins now. Grealish looks like he's. I think everybody collectively, particularly maybe if you've got kind of an England bias as well, perhaps for next summer, and you're looking at Jack Grealish going, is it just lovely? Just seems like a bloke that has fallen in love with football again and has kind of freedom. And do you think this is going to continue, or he's just hit a sort of a form patch?
I can't see why not. I think if you look at like the history of like players going out on loan trying to get first team football when maybe they need to be establishing themselves again, like. Look what Moyes did with Lingard in that half season when he went to West Ham and Lingard was like a man possessed. I think we could see Grealish go and have a really good season. For me, if there's a guy I'd personally pick as player of the season so far, I know we're only 3 games in, I don't know how you can look past Grealish because of what he's done for Everton in the 2 full starts. He's made Everton into an attacking force. And I know there's other players that play a part in that, but Grealish really is the one that links it all together. And again, he's only a couple of games into this, and like by halfway through the season, he'll have a full understanding, if he's not close to it already, of what everyone's doing. So yeah, from his perspective, it's obviously fantastic start, and hopefully more of the same. I doubt he's going to get 4 assists every 2 games that he starts, though. It'd be incredible if he did, but we'll see. He's certainly got the passing range to do it, so we'll find out. But in terms of an England perspective, I think it's also great as well. Having different options is something maybe that we lack at times with England, especially in that forward line where maybe it's all a bit focused on pace and getting Kane the ball. And I think Grealish being able to take the ball on, run at people, get free fouls, and be able to just create something out of nothing is something we need, especially on that left-hand side. So yeah, I think that he's starting to make the right sounds early enough to get Tuchel's attention, I think. So yeah, long may it continue.
He's certainly got our attention with these fantastic performances so far. Jen, welcome to you. Jen is in. Our lovely Jen says, hello, you lovely lot. Although Morecambe was winning before this pod started, so she blames us. Blames us for losing. It's not going well, but you can't blame the pods, you know. Blame it on the good times, blame it on the sunshine, the boogie, blame it on the weatherman if you like, but surely not the pod. Surely not the pod.
Sorry to interrupt. A little cup update.
You're not sorry, Rebecca. Carry on.
Yeah, this is going to be the Accrington Premier League review, so I don't know why you're apologising.
This is actually Everton under 21s are against Doncaster in this.
You've got another game going on. How do you keep tabs?
Everton have just equalised.
Woohoo!
So it is now 1-1.
Did Grealish assist that one as well?
No, Grealish isn't in the under 21. Adam Aston is. Wonder if he's had any input in that one. But yeah, Everton are now 1-1 and Accrington have a corner.
There you go. It couldn't be going any better. Couldn't be going any better for Everton. Rebecca, I want to get your view on Wolves, though, because you've now seen Wolves up firsthand, who have had 3 defeats in a row, which isn't a great way to start any kind of season, and threats, obviously, with the promoted sides doing so well. What did you think of Wolves? Was there enough there to think they might put something together, or were you disappointed by them? Well, not disappointed because you won, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, it was... Sorry, we've just had 2. This is our 3rd corner back to back. I'm so sorry.
Remy, do you want to come in on Wolves?
They're a club that's currently rooted to the bottom of the table.
Oh, Doncaster have scored.
Oh, well. Boo. Boo. So who's answering this question?
I was going to say, Grimmy, shall I come to you on Wolves? Is it trouble? Because they've done some signings, but I can't say that they're any names I recognise. So,
well, that's the thing is, I think a lot of the stuff they've done like in the past few years, aren't necessarily names you would 100% recognise. So, who knows if they'll make a difference? Obviously, they need to bring bodies in because they've lost quite a few of their big name players over the years, and obviously in the past summer losing Cunha and people like that, it's obviously going to have a major detrimental effect. Whether or not they're going to be able to turn it around, I'm not really 100% sure because, yeah, they scored obviously a couple of goals on Saturday, but with all due respect to Everton, they are sort of a mid-table, lower half team at the moment. I'm not saying that's how it's going to be by the end of the season, just before Rebecca tries to murder me. But, I can't see them scoring many goals against the top teams and picking up points here or there when they need to. I mean, they lost 4-0 at home to City. And couldn't score against Bournemouth away either. So, you know, I think it's going to be a real struggle for Wolves, unfortunately, which is a shame because they do have some good players in there. And I do like the manager. I think what he did last season turned that ship around after the bad start under O'Neill. Not that I really think that was O'Neill's fault. I think that was a fixture thing. But I do think that they are going to struggle. And unfortunately, I don't think it's going to get much better when they've got Newcastle away next.
That's not helpful. I agree with you. I like the manager too. I think it just might end up all being a bit too much at the minute where it's going for Wolves. But who knows? These signings are unknown. Maybe a couple of them, you know, there's always a couple of gems that can be unearthed. So
absolutely.
Who knows what we will get from them? Let's move on to the next game, which is Brighton 2, Manchester City 1. And I feel this is a game that Josh in particular would have absolutely loved, because not only did Manchester City fall, they fell to James Milner, who is now the second oldest goal scorer as well as the second youngest goal scorer in the Premier League, which is quite an addition to have to his bow. Manchester City taking the lead through Erling Haaland, Milner with a penalty, and then Gruder as well with minutes to go. Very similar to apparently exactly the same happened last year. Haaland scored first, and then Brighton went on to 2-1. Grimmy, start with you here. What a massive victory for Brighton, who hadn't picked up a victory so far. We'll start with them before we go to City, but yeah, really good. Fabian Herzl getting the better of Pep again.
Yeah, it was a strange one because I felt like the first half City had the chances and to go sort of 2-3 up. And it just, for whatever reason, it just didn't happen. But then Brighton came out second half and really got themselves going. Again, that stat of James Milner being the second youngest and oldest is quite phenomenal, really. I think I saw another stat, whether it's true or not, I don't know. But I think the stat was like he'd scored past the goalkeeper born in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s, which is quite something, really, when you think about it. So
pretty epic.
Yeah, the man does not know how to age, it would appear. But yeah, it's an excellent result for Brighton. I feel like they'd been a little bit hard done by with the performances they put in so far. I think they played relatively well against Everton. Not that like Everton didn't deserve the win, again, before Rebecca tries to kill me. But I feel like they probably deserved something a little bit more than a point after 3 games. And yeah, I'm surprised they managed to beat City, but yeah, great result overall. And yeah, I think they'll, like I said in my predictions, probably one of the teams I was confident on. I think they'll be fine overall for the season.
I think they'll be doing well. And so, yeah, if James Milner needs to advertise some kind of anti-aging product, I feel, because I think that would be the fantastic brand ambassador.
If there was a man who's got the fountain of youth hidden somewhere in his attic, it's probably James Milner.
100% next to his massive trophy collection as well. Rebecca, where's the ball on the pitch? Is it in a safe place to come to you in Manchester City?
Yeah, it's currently with Rebecca's keeper.
It's currently with the keeper, right? So Manchester City with 2 defeats now in a row, Tottenham and Brighton, and up next the Manchester derby, and then they're away at Arsenal. Is this stuttering from Pep trying to find the team? You know, new players coming in. Is it some of that, or do you think this is it? Are people not scared of Manchester City anymore?
I think based on last season, I think not many have been, because a lot of teams have been able to go toe-to-toe with City. And it's been one of them where they've not been as... Like, they're still a very talented team, and I'm not trying to say they're not, so City fans don't, like, come at me, but it's one of them. It just seems to be... There's been a lot of little things that have come with them, especially last season, that just doesn't make them as intense as they have been, because teams are now able to break them down and they are able to understand more of the way City play, because it has been the same way that they've played each season under Pep. So it's one of them where it's like, now with the changes that they've made to the side, it's like now trying to adapt to the way they play, because I know, like, we've seen in Jack Grealish's interviews recently, especially, where it's like he prefers to play on the left with the freedom, which isn't what he was getting at City. And it's one of them where it is like they're trained to play a specific way. So it's one of them teams can break them down now. But I just feel as though it's going to take a bit for this team to gel, whether that is the case or whether it is just like another blip that we saw last season. I feel like no offence to you two, and again, don't kill me for saying this, I feel like United...
Kick her off the show now, Sam, before the words even leave her lips.
United could be the game that we see City bounce back. I mean, it could be a 0-0 draw for all we know, because
I take it.
To the point where they pick up derbies where they always, a lot of the time, end up being a bit dull and boring, but in terms of a Manchester one especially, no offence, I do feel as though it could be the match that they find their feet and go against them, but it's one of them where you just never know. Like, we'll get onto a bit later on, United have just got a win on a high after Grimsby, so it's one of them where they are going to be very interesting matches. I do feel as though it is a bit of an iffy point for City. I know, like, you can't really be saying much when you're only 3 matches in, but a loss to Tottenham and now a loss to Brighton, it is a bit of an interesting time for them, should we say. Aki has finished 2-2.
There we go. It's full time. We have Rebecca's had a cheeky Desmond in the cup, and now we have Rebecca for the rest of the world, unless Everton under 21s are still going. Who knows?
No, they finished. They got beat 2-1, like 19.
Hey!
Winner for Doncaster, so that's not fun.
Oh dear, not good at all. But it's a gloomy Manchester City with, I mean, to be fair, Rodri's first game back kind of starting, and so his stat of never losing for City's gone, so that kind of deals with that straight off the bat. But there are a couple of things not quite right with that team. Obviously, I think they're missing Vardiol. Him being out is a massive thing for them. Defensively, they look a bit shaky. Is it Kusanov's hasn't really impressed me at all yet. Oscar Bobb's come back from a long-term injury. He's been thrown in. Hasn't kind of linked with Marmouche yet. Haaland's got a few goals. But do you agree with what Simon's saying here? Pep doesn't have a plan B, so other managers have figured out how to play against them.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. I don't know if it's necessary that Pep doesn't have a plan B. I think it's more that the players just haven't gelled yet. I feel like this is kind of the biggest turnaround in a Pep squad under City we've seen since that sort of full first summer he had after that first season. I think when you look at that,
going to penalties.
Oh,
sorry,
we started again. You told us it was full time.
You said it was full time.
You've left the stadium. You're halfway on the way home.
Yeah,
it goes to penalties if it's a draw.
Of course it does.
Anyway,
Papa John's cap. Sorry, back to Grimmy.
As I was saying,
talk to me. Tell me about Pep.
Yeah, so basically, like if you look at that sort of first lineup of what they've got, you've got Trafford, Kusanov, Aït-Nouri, Reinders, Bob, and Marmouche. Really, who you would say have only really been in for the majority of maybe the past few games, or sort of when they came in at the start of this year of 2025. So it's not like we've got a team that's sort of been together for 2-3 years and it's, starting to hit its peak or have its full understanding of each other. And there are a lot of younger players in there now as well, whilst obviously City, when they've won the 4 years in a row, they've had a lot of experience in there. They've had title winners and there's a lot of young blood that's coming through. So I don't know if that's maybe the issue is maybe it's just a bit of gelling together that needs to happen. I do have a feeling that we're going to see some sort of Pep madness where he's going to do what he did a couple of seasons ago when he lost a couple of players and just do a total rewrite of what he wanted to do. And for some reason, it'll work. And no one, even himself, won't understand why it's working, but he'll just keep doing it. It'll work. But that being said, the next couple of games aren't exactly gimmies for them either. I can't believe the words are about to leave my mouth, but I actually fancy us to go to City and get something based on how they're playing at the moment. And if we can actually put something together like we do against the bigger teams at the minute, because apparently we struggle against Grimsby and not against, Arsenal, aka, a big six club, then I actually think we could get something. And I think they will struggle against Arsenal away. So I'm not saying they're going to lose 4 games in a row, but it won't totally surprise me if after the international break, like say in a month's time, they've lost 4 games in a row. And I'm trying so hard to keep my concentration without seeing the flailing hands going on below me on the screen. But yeah, so I just think that it's maybe it's going to be a bit of time bedding in the squad. And of course, they've got Donnarumma coming in. I think that'll settle the back line down a lot, knowing that they've got not World Cup winner, they've got Champions League winner, Club World Cup finalist, which apparently is a thing now, and Euro 2021 winner.
It was the delayed England one.
He's still relatively young in the grand scheme of things, and he's won so much. So like having him in will probably be a big boost to them. So yeah, whilst I get why people are sort of questioning City, even if they have a bit more of a fumble, I still think they'll be in and around the top 4 come the end of the season. I'd be majorly shocked if they weren't.
Yes, it's it. And City last season took some time and then kind of came through. I think I had them 4th in my prediction because that's kind of how I see it. As I still think they're the top team that are up there, but I think it's going to take some time for this consistency. And this will be a big test for Pep. We've not seen Pep kind of have to rebuild a team in this way, so it's going to be really interesting how he gets on with that, because there's a lot that they need to do. There's a lot that they need to kind of tighten up, and questions that need to be answered. You've got. Is Phil Foden never coming back? Are we ever seeing Phil Foden again? Or I don't know what's going to happen there. It's
a weird one because he seems to have a lot of injuries, and last season people were questioning where he was, and it just seemed he couldn't keep himself fit, and he seems to have picked up a knock again. So yeah, obviously from an England perspective, we hope he's relatively okay by the time we get to the summer. But then again, when he played in the Euros, he didn't play that great. So if Grealish is, playing as he is going into the summer, does Foden get in? Because I think that's most likely where he would be put, really, in a Tuchel system. So yeah, it's a strange one with Foden, but they've got plenty. They've got Bernardo Silva, they've got Reinders, they've got Bob, which is a great sentence all of its own. But we'll see where it leads them.
Yeah, they have indeed. They've got plenty. And Simon says, got to feel sorry for Trafford. Comes in hoping to be number one with Ederson leaving, and then they go and get Donnarumma. Yeah, it's been a big goalkeeping change. Massive one coming in there for City last minute. Is that going to work, Donnarumma?
I think in terms of the keeping the goals out, it will. Whether Pep's going to adapt it, because again, I can't say I'm the biggest Donnarumma fan, and I've watched every single game in his life, but from what I've seen, he's not exactly the ball-playing type of keeper Pep usually wants, or what he's had in Ederson. So I don't know if he's going to maybe adapt that a little bit and maybe push them up a little bit and use a bit more long ball and battling for that sort of 50-50 ball a bit more. But I do think Donnarumma in the long term, whether it's under Pep or the next manager or whatever shape or form it comes in, I think Donnarumma will work out at City, because he just has that experience to do so, I think.
He's that good, isn't he? Yeah, this is it. They have got a top goalkeeper there who will be trying his hand at the Premier League. So exciting for City. But we're going to flip across, Grimmy. We're going to flip across to the other side of Manchester.
Oh, here we go.
Coming up to this point, Grimmy, it's fair to say it's been a rough week. It was a rough week, and it was looking at 90 plus 6. It was looking pretty rough again. But Manchester United beat Burnley 3-0. I know Rebecca's happy about it.
Becca's impression of my celebration is quite something.
Rebecca
these penalties are going to kill me.
You didn't have to watch Grimsby penalties, mate.
Good God, yeah.
We were watching them on the way back from Everton and Mansfield, so everyone's walking down straight. There's people stood outside at bars and everything. Like, everyone's there with them on phones. It's quite entertaining.
It must have been the longest street you ever walked down, because that penalty shootout went for about 2.5 hours. Like, it was, I lost all kind of sense of time. I think when that penalty shootout went on.
Exactly.
But yes, it was off the back of, obviously we went live before Grimsby last week, Grimmy, which obviously didn't. From a Manchester United go well. For everybody else, it went fantastically. And very much enjoyed it. And I can understand why. And congratulations to Grimsby. Fully deserved it. Played Man United off the park in a lot of that game. So how important was it for Manchester United to get these 3 points with the bizarre Amorim press conference? I know you and I were talking off air a little bit about it. And then Burnley at home.
Yep.
How did United play for you? Because I felt they're getting a lot of unfair criticism at this weekend's game. I can understand the bigger picture, but I actually thought in the first half, it just didn't finish the chances, or it should have been 3-4-0.
Yeah, it felt like it was a much better performance, obviously, in comparison to the Fulham and Grimsby games, but I don't think that was particularly difficult.
No.
But it was the reaction we needed. It was just... And Amorim said it in his press conference that basically if we put the chances away, Burnley shouldn't be coming back from 3-4 down, basically. Which is the positive, is that, when we've still got a couple of the new attackers in, obviously Cunha picking up the injury, but when we are still sort of trying to work out how that forward line works with each other, and then Sesko's got to come in there, there's probably going to be a few frustrating games where we should be putting more chances away. But I think the positive I'm taking from it is we're actually having chances, because last season chances were few and far between. We'd go entire games without really seeing a proper chance. So, I mean, if you look at the stats there, 26 shots, I'll take that every day of the week, as long as they're not 20 pot shots from 40 yards out, which they weren't. But yeah, like, I think the positive you have to take from it as a United fan is that attacking wise, we looked relatively sharp. It was just the clinical side of it that we need to improve on. But the defensive side of it in the second half was where we let ourselves down, because yeah, again, we can criticize the goalkeeper, we can criticize the defense, but overall it just wasn't great. And yeah, there's not a lot more I can really say about it, really. I think the frustrating thing is that we get ourselves back a goal straight away with Mbeumo, and then 10 minutes later we're scrambling again to get the ball out, and then Anthony puts it away. But yeah, we came through in the end. People are questioning the penalty. I didn't really get, because it's like, if it's any other player in any other team and their shirt's being pulled like that, everyone's saying that's an instant foul. But because it's Man United and it's the last minute, it's like, oh, well, how's that a penalty? It's like, I don't really understand it. I think Burnley could probably feel a bit hard done by a couple of decisions on their end as well. But again, I feel like we deserved the win with how we played attacking wise. I just wish defensively we could. Hopefully, Lamon's coming in will help that. But defensively, we do need to sharpen up, especially with the next couple of games we've got coming up.
Yeah, it was a relieving one, wasn't it? It was, as you said, there's just too many mistakes. If you look at all the goals, man, I think about 80% of the goals Man United conceded so far this season have come from defensive mistakes or errors in some kind of way. So that you take those away and you can find that resolute defence without the mistakes. Easier said than done, then you're in a better place. But as Simon says here, a win's a win. It doesn't matter how you do it. It all matters that you win. And I think this was kind of one of those games where that certainly was true. Going into the international break off the back of the Grimsby defeat, The Fulham draw was a bit sort of drab. I mean, the crazy thing for me with Manchester United at the minute is if you take the Grimsby result out of the start of the season, we're probably going into the international break in a very, very different mentality, I think, because Arsenal performance was good, but didn't get anything ultimately. Fulham's wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible at the same time. I can understand a lot of the same stuff we saw from last season, but I think that's inevitable that, we're not suddenly going to be able to switch it on from the nonsense we saw last season. And then because of the Grimsby stuff, because of the Amorim comments and all of this, it's created another kind of hullabaloo. And therefore, now you'd be going into the international break going, well, we've got 4 points. We've got Arsenal, we played them, and they're kind of out the way. Manchester Derby next, they're not going great. Suddenly, as you said, if they pick something up at the Etihad, the narrative's very different. And on the penalty for me, I mean, yeah, I don't really understand why Anthony did it. I think that was the kind of thing. I think it was just kind of unnecessary. I know Ahmad was in a dangerous area, but actually Burnley had been defending that 6-yard box really well. The crosses across, so I think he was kind of well crowded out when he got in there, so no guarantees. But and again, yeah, the celebration police are out because you can't celebrate. You can't celebrate a win. It's not allowed.
No, you're not allowed. Like, God forbid you should celebrate a last-minute winner, or your team actually winning a game of football, or I mean, I know Arsenal got criticised for it a couple of years ago. I think it was when they beat City, and then Odegaard was picking up the camera or something daft like that. But at the end of the day, if you can't celebrate a win in football, then why are you watching? Like, what's the point? We're all there to watch a team win. So if you can't enjoy a win, no matter how big or small the team you're playing is, what's the point? It takes the joy out of it.
This is it. This is what it's all about. And what everybody wants to know was, Rebecca, was that celebrating? Did it end in the right way with a celebration? How's it gone in the penalty shootout?
We've got beat 5-4 on penalties.
Oh, dear me.
We missed our first two. It was just, penalties. Kelly came out with a few good saves, a few decent penalties, but Isaac Sinclair, he took the one when it went to sudden death, missed it. Well, no, saved by the keeper, and then Kelly nearly got a hand to it, but just couldn't keep it out. But we still get a point. It's really stupid, this cup. It's just a bonus point for if you win on penalties in a draw.
A point's a point.
We've got one.
Rebecca. There you
Fleetwood
go.
have 2, and I don't know how Port Vale and Leeds got on, so
Okay.
we wait and see. But we need to practice penalties because we missed one in the match as well.
That's a point, though. Points mean prizes. Points mean prizes, but you need more of them. You need more than one. That's the key to that. David's joining us as well. He says, coming at the right time. I've had Liverpool next. I think not next, but one after Liverpool. We haven't done Liverpool Arsenal yet. That is coming. Don't worry. He says, yes, a win's a win. So there you go. It is indeed. Rebecca, so we haven't heard from you on the Premier League in a little while. We'll come and we'll ask you from a neutral perspective, how important was that, do you think, for Manchester United to get 3 points and try and kick their season off in some kind of reaction?
I mean, after Grimsby, I think it was really important to get the bounce back and try and get the fans back on side at the end of the day, because it wasn't the greatest for a United perspective Wednesday, but it's one of them where to be able to bounce back in the league where it can be seen as more significant in terms of like, it's one of them where, you'd love a good cup run, but I think with what happened last season, United had like a quite high finish and try and be fighting for the European places at least this season. So to be able to get that win under the belt, like, it's one of them where Burnley did put up the fight, and I was a bit devastated for them not being able to pick up the point, but I do feel as though that match was a lot more important to United, and like you say, a win's a win. It's one of them. It doesn't matter who you're against or how you do it. It's one of them where you're fighting for the 3 points, and United got them, and I feel as though that's what you needed, especially going into the next match, which is the Manchester derby after the international break. And with it being the international break, you'd rather go into that a bit more positive on the back of this than if you were to lose or get a draw. I don't think it would have been as effective going into it.
No, it probably would have been pretty toxic, and heading into a transfer window of final day could have added some more chaos. But Grimmy, we'll talk as we're talking transfers as we go through. There has been some transfer business, a lot of gons, a lot of outs. Finally, for some of these have moved on. So Manchester United's final business was out. Anthony, the one and only Anthony, single named, has finally gone to Real Betis. Obviously taken a massive cut on what was spent on him. There is a 50% sell-on fee, though. So, someone else decides to do something silly, then potentially it could be quids in. Rasmus Højlund's gone to Napoli, and there's a potential obligation to buy. I think it's if they finish in the Champions League. I think it's the clause I saw for that one. Jadon Sancho, he's gone as well. He's moved. He's moved on loan. Where's Sancho gone? Villa. Yeah. Sancho's gone to Villa, and a new goalkeeper is in. Saint-Lemens. A lot of rumours to Emi Martinez in the last couple of days, and it seemed like maybe it was a bit of a kind of ruse to get Lemens over there. I'm happy that we've gone this route. Martinez is a very good goalkeeper, but also can be quite erratic and maybe throwing petrol on a fire a little bit. Where did you stand? Are you happy with Saint-Lemens?
I think I'd have been happy with either of them in all honesty, because again, the quality of the keeper we've got at the minute is way below what we needed it to be. Martinez, I think I was leaning more towards Lemens because like you say, as much as of a character Martinez is, sometimes that does shine through too much, and it ends up in him being over enthusiastic, and he ends up making the daft mistake here or there. I mean, look at what he did against us in the last game of last year, where all Villa needed to do was beat basically a hung up to dry United team after the Europa League final, and he gets himself sent off, and we end up winning a game, and which was just bizarre in and of itself. But also, I think that my thing with Lamens is that there is no way on earth that kid can be any worse than what we've already got. Like, it has to be some form of an improvement. Like, even if he just stands there with his arms out in the middle of the goal, I think at this point he's an improvement. So yeah, I'm hoping he's going to be the long-term answer. And with him being so young, hopefully he's with us for the next 10, 15 years, and we don't have to worry about that position anymore. In terms of the other three, Sancho, I really don't have many nice things to say about that guy and his attitude in general. Why Villa have gone for him, I do not understand. Like, I don't understand what they've seen from him at Chelsea last season to go, yeah, he's going to fix our attacking problems. I generally don't see it. Anthony is, I mean, that whole thing was just bizarre because I messaged this to you, Sam. He'd cried all summer about wanting to go back to Betis. He was allowed to go. He then said no because of his contract and the wage or whatever, because he wanted to be compensated or have a severance package from United. And it's like, well, you've cried all throughout the summer, and now you're getting what you wanted, but now you're saying no. And then 2 days later, he just goes anyway. I'm like, right, okay, whatever. And then Højlund is the one I feel more sorry for, because I do think that basically he's had to be our number 9 striker or our number 1 striker during the worst period in probably the club's history. Well, the worst since obviously they got relegated in the 70s, but he had no service. The players around him up front were terrible. Anthony wasn't going to give him a cross for hell or high water. Garnacho didn't want to pass to him because he seemingly had some form of vendetta about making the right pass. So yeah, I feel more sorry for Højlund, and I generally do hope that he goes on and has a great career, and goes and smashes it at Napoli next season and gets them into the Champions League, and then has a good career in Italy with them. And yeah, he's the one I feel more sorry for out of the 5 that was sort of exiled, as I call it, or put into the bad toddler training camp. He's the one I felt more sorry for. But yeah, we'll see what happens next in their careers. But glad with Anthony and Sancho. Hopefully, it's a step closer to Sancho going permanently. But we'll wait and see.
This is it. I needed to move them on. Absolutely. I'm the same with Højlund. Like, Højlund did, it didn't come off for him last season in a weird, and it must have been horrible. He was constantly getting battered left, right, and centre for his performances. But he never, you know what I mean? He kept tried to knuckle himself down to put the work in. Did what you'd expect your professional football player to do. So he goes sort of with everyone's compliments and hoping it works out for him at Napoli. I still think there's a talented player there. He just needs to find some confidence and to grow and develop again. But Simon's not disappointed to see that Anthony's left. Not a fan of Anthony. He'll be... We'll cap now and again in a Liga roundup, maybe appear. He did last season because he get popping off on the goal scoop. But
I guarantee he'll have a fantastic season at Betis, and then he'll get some sort of mega move again. And I'll be like, how is this guy doing it? Like, yeah. But yeah, I'm not going to rant about Anthony. He stressed me out enough over the past 2 seasons.
He's gone. We've moved on. We've all moved on with our lives, and we're going to move on as well too. Nottingham Forest 0. West Ham United 3. Rebecca, it's very turbulent at Nottingham Forest. Nuno and Mr. Marinakis for some deadline showdowns coming up over international break. Things are not right behind the scenes. Things are not very good. And it wasn't very good on the pitch this weekend either. I did watch this one, and Forest were pretty much camped in West Ham's half. But West Ham were defensively pretty solid. They didn't get troubled, even though Forest was sort of probing. They couldn't find the pass. And then on 80 minutes, it looked dead set to be a 0-0. But Jared Bowen is the one thing that West Ham have that is something special. As I think Paquetá had a good game as well, and others did this weekend. But Jared Bowen, how important for West Ham was that 3-0 victory, and that Jared Bowen is still their main man.
Yeah, it was very, very important. I mean, I was shocked with the result, I'll be honest. West Ham have been struggling quite a bit to start the season, 2 consecutive defeats and quite heavy ones as well. So it was one of them where you didn't know how they'd turn up, but like we know there is a bit of something going on behind the scenes at Forest, and you'd hope it wouldn't affect the on-field play, but clearly there is something that's going on that isn't working there. But I mean, West Ham just proved that Bowen is one that they needed to keep this transfer window, and he proved why. in this match. Very talented player getting the opening goal, and it was just from there. It was just West Ham were on top and West Ham were on it. I mean, Paquetá with his celebration as well, because I think he'd been linked with quite a few different teams. So him like putting the phone down and kissing the badge was like, I'm staying here, I ain't going anywhere. And then for Callum Wilson to open his scoring at West Ham as well, I think, was that his first one? Or do you get one?
First one for them, yeah.
So it's one of them for him to be back playing as well. Like, he's one of them, if they're able to keep him fit, because we all know he has had injury issues, he is going to be one that can chip in with goals, and the link up between him and Bowen could be something quite special for West Ham. So I feel as though they have done well to be able to keep Bowen, but it's one of them where it'll be interesting to see what happens if they can keep hold of him in January, or if it's going to be a summer one where he could be off. But no, it's a bit of an unsettling time for Forest fans. I feel as though the international break could have come at a better time, but then it's also fallen quite well. But it's just one of them, all of the noise behind the scenes just needs to be cut out now, and hopefully that'll get sorted. But yeah, West Ham, I mean, getting the first 3 points and getting that boost up, and I mean, having 3 separate goal scorers as well is quite important, because it just shows that they are able to score from different areas. I know one of them's a penalty, but for 3 players to convert, it's a positive one for them.
It's a very positive one. They said they've been bashed the first couple of weekends of the season, looking really terrible. Potter was, I think, under extreme pressure and extreme threat, and still kind of is. It's a little bit of a respite maybe for now, but and it could and should have been 4. Jared Bowen on a Messi-like run into the box. I mean, we could have been talking goal of the season contender. And then cheeky Callum Wilson stuck his foot out. Oh,
you can't believe it.
He was fuming, wasn't he? I mean, we've all been there where you've been in a game and someone's tried to sneak it off another player. But I felt. I mean, Wilson was laughing about it. I'm sure Bowen maybe is calmed down about it now, but he wasn't happy.
Imagine if it was 0-0 though, and he'd done that.
If it was for the game-winning goal as well. My word, then,
that would have been. I think the fans might have been on the pitch at Wilson. To be fair, like that, it was.
They were pretty angry at Wolves. That would have been another level. There's no doubt about it. Simon says Bowen's on fire. We won't say the second line of that song, but he does hope that as a commentary lad that he hopes that Wilson can stay fit. David says bit of a shock. I think, to be fair, this was the shocking scoreline of everyone had the Forest home win and all their sort of bankers for the West Ham score. Is this a start? Back to West Ham again next match. And Kyle says Wilson's contract definitely has some goal bonus incentives in it. Yeah, you're probably right, to be fair. You're probably right. But one interesting rumour behind the scenes that I was hearing, Grimmy, obviously the Forest issues with Nuno Espirito Santo. Rumours are it's Edu. Rumours are that there's been, and it's personal, apparently not speaking. It's properly, and Mr. Marinakis is in between the two. But the rumours that they were kind of sniffing around and they're behind the scenes. For first of all, West Ham, with the threats to Mr. Potter. A certain manager has been sacked in Turkey who said he'd like to come to the Premier League and return to a team not in the top half of the division. Mr. Jose Mourinho, could you see a Jose Mourinho at West Ham? But then also, if Nuno goes from Forest at the end of this international break and they can't reconcile it or whatever, Mourinho and Marinakis could be box office. Where are we? Is Jose coming back?
It would be. Yeah, the Forest one would be box office. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think it would be something truly special. Because it would last maybe a month, or it could last for 10 years.
It wouldn't be very long, would it? But
yeah, it could be anywhere in between. Really, they could hate each other so much that it works so well that they just stick around for as long as they can. The West Ham one, I kind of see a little bit more that way in case if say for example, if they go to Spurs and get battered, like they return from the international break, they can't keep that momentum going, or something happens to Bowen and maybe they get battered again, then maybe I could see that happening. If I was Mourinho, I'd probably stay well clear of West Ham, to be honest. Simply just down to the fact that if something does happen to Bowen or Paquetá, I feel like they're in big trouble anyway. None so shown yesterday from Bowen's performance and Paqueta's as well. But yeah, I mean, it's a very bizarre thing for Jose to say in the press conference like a year ago, in 2 years' time when I get sacked or when I'm no longer here, I want to manage a Premier League club that's not already in Europe or that's not been in Europe or something. So if anyone's interested, let me know. And I'm kind of like, why? Like, why would you say that? Like, surely you want to be at the club you're at and have success and be there for as long as possible. You don't want to be putting your name out there for other clubs to keep a tab on in case you do get sacked 2 years later. Surely that's kind of like the total opposite of what a manager should be doing. But again, it's Jose. He doesn't exactly beat to the standard managerial drum that gets played every week. So yeah, I could see him. I could see him more likely to be at West Ham because I feel like Forest are probably gonna get like an Ange or a bigger name in because of kind of where they're at. They are still sort of that top half club with potential Europe or Cup runs in their system at the minute. And I feel like West Ham's very much a big rebuild that needs to happen. So yeah, who knows with Jose? He could go to City if Pep got sacked in like a month. You never know. God, could you imagine? But yeah, it's Jose, it's Marinakis, it's a beautiful, maddening concoction.
It would be wonderful. And we come to our final major game we're going to cover. There's a few minor games we'll cover as well in less detail. But in terms of a team that certainly need to show their challenge this season, it was a top of the table clash. Liverpool and Arsenal, two teams were expecting to be up there this season. It was Super Sunday, 4:30. Everybody excited. Massive entertainment, surely. And let's be honest, for the neutral, I'm sure, the passionate, the ins and outs and the tactical, high-level football, tacticians may disagree. But it was a pretty boring affair between Liverpool and Arsenal, cancelling each other out when not an awful lot happened until Dominic Szoboszlai hit an absolute fantastic free kick from a very, very long way out to beat probably the best goalkeeper in the Premier League, one of arguably, probably with the guy at the other end. And the guy at Everton, of course, Rebecca. I'm not putting United's goalkeepers in there for obvious reasons, Grimmy, but beat David Raya from about 30 yards, an absolutely phenomenal strike. And Rebecca, from an Arsenal perspective, I know Arteta's getting a lot of pelters I've seen, since it. Was it too negative? Was it too safe? Is that the problem?
I think the way to round up that match was a bit boring, to be highly honest. It's just one of them. I mean, like you've said, like they would take, like, the goal came from a free kick. It was one of them where it was a great strike, very well taken. But that should not be beating the keeper from that distance. Like, you have your wall set up. It's just one of them where it's like, yeah, fair play. But I don't think Raya has helped himself in his highly amusing post-match interview of saying that he's still getting used to the ball because it's changed, I think I've heard. So that was unless I've listened to it wrong, but that was.
I did see that, but I will say, to be fair to him, because I saw a few people get there. It was the media that posted the questions to him, and he kind of just said, "Well, they're different, but you've got to get on with it." He kind of answered it, I think, as best he could. I was a bit like the media set him up for that because they've cut out the question, and it was like the question was, "Are the balls different?" He's like, "Well, yeah, they're different, but I've got to get on with it." But when you take the question out, it makes it look like he's kind of excuses. I felt a bit rough for him, actually.
Yeah. But it's just one of them. I think that match, it had a draw written all over it, and I think that's what both teams deserved from that match. It's a hard one to say much about because there wasn't much, but there was. It's an odd one, but I feel as though the pressure is piling up on Arsenal more now because you'd think heading into this one, they'd have settled with a draw, and I think that is something that I think a lot of fans wanted at the end of it because it's one of them. It keeps everything open towards the top. Yeah, we're only 3 matches in, But, I mean, we were sat here saying if Arsenal were to win 2-0, Everton would have gone above Liverpool. So it's one of them. They could have done us a favour, but it's just one of them where fair play to Liverpool, I guess. I ain't the one to come to for this one.
No, I tried to lean on Arsenal for you to be kind. As David says, not got going yet, Liverpool, but 3 from 3 can't grumble. A signing, Isak put the league out of reach for most. We'll come to Isak in a minute and their signing, this whole signing saga on transfer deadline day. But it's fair to say, yeah, Liverpool have got 3 wins out of 3, Grimmy, and I think it's fair to say haven't been in top gear, but have found a way. That's kind of what champions do. And this was certainly a game where not a lot happened, and it was going to take a moment, and it was a super special moment from Szoboszlai to get there. Do you think it is just Liverpool have that kind of knack, that way of getting over the line, and we're seeing teams that, you look at Arsenal now against Manchester United, they got it done, but against this kind of, Anfield's not a place that they've gone to and got a victory. Arteta's not got a victory there since he was playing, I think. Not a lot of teams, to be fair, do at Anfield. But is that the difference that you see between Liverpool and Arsenal, or do you just think that, look, it's early on, it's one of those games, long way to go?
It's difficult one to answer that. I think Liverpool, like you say, we've seen it a couple of times in their recent sort of title victories where they didn't maybe, like last season, they didn't necessarily start playing fluent, fast, rapid, beautiful football, but they were getting results, and they've done the same again here. I think if you said to both teams before the game, like was touched upon before, if they'd given you a point each, I think both of them would have shook hands and said, yeah, we'll take that and go from there. But saying that, if you can take an opportunity of beating probably who is going to be your closest rival, even at this early stage, and leave a mark, I think you take that as well. And I just think that Liverpool were always going to be... Liverpool should have been more under the cosh in this game than they were allowed to be. I think Arsenal... I said it last week, and I said it the week before after the Bournemouth game. Teams can get at Liverpool, especially at this early point in the season. And I just don't understand why Arsenal didn't go for it a bit more, especially after sort of setting themselves up in the first half. I felt like bring Odegaard and Eze on from the second half and really get at them and have that creativity there. But saying that, Liverpool found a way to grind it out, and, a bit of magic from one of their players has got them over the line. And it probably won't be the only time we say that throughout the season. I mean, we said it against Newcastle. Like, they got a, 97th or 8th minute winner. So, like, it's that mentality of keep going to the end, regardless of who the opponent is. And there you go. Well, like David says, 37 games on the trot scoring. Like, no other club can get anywhere near to that, I don't think. And I wouldn't be surprised if Liverpool managed to get a good chunk through this season with that record still intact, because they have so many options and they have so many players that can just pop up and create something. Even if you take it outside the front three, you've got Wirtz, McAllister, and Szoboszlai doing what he did. It's, they are a phenomenal team, and they will continue to do these things and annoy the living daylights out of us United fans, because they will find a way.
They will find a way. Simon says Arsenal didn't get the best out of Gyökeres. They didn't play to his strengths. But I think Arteta, with the lineup he kind of picked, as you said, like, Mourinho in midfield, they were kind of more intent on stopping Liverpool first, I think, than probably being that attacking threat as a primary. It looked to be that the game plan was get to 70 minutes and chuck Eze and Odegaard on. So obviously protecting Odegaard with his injury, not the other day. Martinelli I can't remember the last time I've seen Martinelli, to be honest, in a game where I've really been kind of that impressed. I think he does a good defensive job for Arsenal, but he definitely hasn't kicked on for me. I would say really under pressure when Eze gets going, because these are phenomenal talent. But talking of transfers, Grimmy, Liverpool have broken the British transfer record for the second time. The Alexander Isak saga is finally over. My God, that one feels like it's been going on, and it has been going on all summer. Finally, that happened, and then it triggered a whole host of other moves that happened on transfer deadline day for Newcastle with Johan Visser.
Yep.
They obviously got their other new striker coming in as well. Was it Nick Waltermeier from the Bundesliga as well? So Alexander Isak, is that, I think, is that the piece that is going to make you more certain that Liverpool are there? Obviously, he's not been training or not been doing a lot, but I would imagine that if they can get him firing, we've got a real problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said before, even if Isak came back and came into Liverpool and scored 10, 15 goals, like didn't have like a 20-goal season, they have so much around them, it's not really going to matter. And I feel like he's probably going to assist just as much as he's going to score because of who he's got around him. So yeah, I think Isak, not that it necessarily puts them over the line and gives them the favorite tag. I think they were already favorites in my eyes beforehand anyway, and in pretty much everyone else's. But I just think that adds that bit of certainty. Like if, say, for example, Salah was to get injured, or Ekitike, I can never get that guy's name right. If he went down injured, then you've got Isak, or you've got one of the others to sort of back it up now. And yeah, they're just going to be formidable, both in domestically and in the Champions League, I think, because I think that's what the Isak thing is for, is to try and push them further in the Champions League and give the big teams around Europe really something to think about, really.
Yeah, it does. It does hit that kind of level with Isak with the goals. If he can carry on the way he has been going on, he is a bit injury prone. That's the one thing that I think with Isak would worry me about that kind of value. He does miss a lot of games, but that's where you've got the other guys in the front line. You said like how he's going to link and play with Ekitike will be interesting because they're kind of similar in the way that they play. A lot of people said it might move Ekitike out to the left, but then Gakpo start the season quite well as well. But you need to have the options. You're not just going to start with the same four. So there we go. So that Liverpool take the first, the first salvo in the title race, the first kick. But it's early days. There's plenty of time to go. We'll whiz through a couple of these. The main point I wanted to talk about with Chelsea versus Fulham. Rebecca, I'll come to you. VAR has had a fantastic start to the season. Everybody loves VAR. They weren't going to re-referee games. They weren't going to nitpick. It was going to be clear and obvious. So what the bloody hell was going on for the first goal, Chelsea versus Fulham?
I don't even know how to put it into words. It's one of them, I think we can sum up every single week VAR, and it's not fit for purpose at this point. It is affecting games more than it should be. And it's just getting to the point of it's very frustrating and very annoying because it can change matches, and it did with this one. I didn't catch it fully. I think this was Dundee Derby Day, so that was fun. Or was it Sunday? Yeah, I don't even. All of the matches are blurring into one at this point.
But no, on this one,
yeah. I mean, it's just frustrating. Fulham haven't started the season very well, and then to now have the VAR go against them and disallowing the goal, I still can't understand how or why. It makes no sense, and that could have been, like I said, the game changer. 1-0 up or heading into it, and then it's it just changes it, and they just need to sort it out because it's again the marginal offsides that are showing, and the fouls, and handball again being a controversy. I know for us, especially in the Leeds match, it's one of them where there's no actual, consistency with VAR. It's one rule for some, another for others, and it just depends on which ref or which VAR person you've got at the time. And then I know for Liverpool and Arsenal, they had their VAR changed because of the incidents over the weekend and because of the mistakes that have been made. So it's one of them, if you're able to identify the mistakes, and it's one of them, they just shouldn't be happening. And if you're having to change them for different matches, then how is it going to be a case of we can keep this going?
It is mad, and the incident itself. So I'm sure most people will have seen it by this point, but he's sort of gone to sort of pirouette on the ball in the middle of the pitch. Chalobah has sort of stuck his leg in there. He never had. It's just not a foul. It's just not a foul. And Josh King, who's been really good for Fulham start of this season, really exciting young player, gets his first goal against Chelsea and the rivals in the derby, and he gets pulled up for that. And as you said, Rebecca, no consistency. As Aled says, don't know how they disallowed it when the same game Chelsea did a similar challenge on a Fulham player, but no foul. And then to rub it in, they go and score in the injury time, which was added on because of all the time they took to flap about with the VAR. It's absolutely crazy. As the chat agrees, Simon says it's a joke. Sean says, "What a pile of poops! What a pile of poops!" Grimy used to see it the same way. It was just a really bad one, another really bad one.
Yeah, I mean, how can you think anything else, really? I think part of my, apart from there's a lot of things that are wrong with VAR and the way it's implemented, but I think part of the problem is that as soon as the referee gets called to the screen, everyone knows it's getting overturned, or even if it takes 5 minutes. Everyone knows it's getting overturned. It's like the referees don't even have a choice to just look at it and go, no, I agree with my decision. I'm sticking to it. Like that one, him landing on his foot when he's got nowhere else to land. It's like, surely there's a bit of common sense there where the referee can look at it and go, yeah, he's twisting his body shape. He's not looking at where the player is. His foot has to land. His foot just happens to be there. Let's take a bit of common sense and just leave it as is. But it just seems like as soon as they have to go to the screen, that's it. There's no going back. There's no changing the mind. It's getting overturned, or it's being given, whichever way. Basically, the opposite to what the referee has done has to be said. And it just feels like the referees at this point don't feel like they can make a decision of their own accord without when VAR gets involved. So like, If it was a case of, like, say the referee didn't have to go to the screen and VAR tells them this is the decision, I think that would be a lot easier to take. But when the referee has to go through all that circumstance and all that pomp of going to the screen to look like he's really paying attention, and then someone just go to him, no, this is what you should do. What's the point of all that? Then what's the point of having him look at the screen when you're just making the decision anyway? So. Yeah, I'm not one of these people that thinks VAR should go. I still think it needs to be implemented in a lot better way, or better ways. And I think there are easy fixes to it. It's just that the powers that be want to make it as painful and as difficult a process as possible for people to have to live with. So yeah, because I guarantee as soon as VAR would get taken away, bad decisions would get made by the referees, and people wouldn't be going, oh, well, the referee made a bad decision. It would be 10 times worse because the referee's made a bad decision and there's been nothing to back him up on it. I think the frustration comes is when the backup's there, but then that makes the wrong decision anyway. So, yeah, VAR can be saved. Is that a dramatic way to put it? Probably, but I think it can be saved and it can be fixed. It just needs the powers that be to stop wasting everyone's time with looking at screens and making it a very simple process for everyone involved to just get on with it and make the decisions.
It's also one of them where they were saying that they're going to try and make it better for fans in the stadium. So when something is being VAR'd, they're going to make it better. When we were at Everton and Brighton, that was VAR'd for a second handball given by Everton in a week. That was fun. But that one was VAR'd, and there was actually no extra thing given. Like, we still didn't really know what was going on. And then it came up about 10 minutes later. They just put like a tweet on the big screen with the reasoning as to why it had been given. And it's one of them, it's like, right, you've given us like a kind of reason, but you're mid-match. No one's looking up to read like a full paragraph. Yeah. But then I do like the fact that they are now getting refs to announce it. I feel like that's quite funny when they have to stand there and fully announce it. But the mics need to work better because you can hardly hear them in the ground. It was like when Gordon got sent off for Newcastle. The reasoning behind it is great, and actually finding out more about why they've given it and once they've been sent to the monitor is great. But again, the technology side of it with that one needs to be a bit better, because it's one of them where we want to be able to support the rest, back them, and like them not be made out to be like idiots at this point, and VAR just isn't helping to support the rest, so it's more scrutiny towards them as well.
Yeah, and if you look at how it works in rugby, it's we need you to look at this decision. He watches it on the screen for about 30 seconds, goes, "Yeah, I was right. No, I was wrong." Announces why the decision was made. They crack on. It's not a fill in a form and send it back and hope for a quick email response. It's it's just like that's the frustration with me, is that decisions could be made a lot quicker and they could put a lot more power back to the referees by backing them. And it feels like VAR is basically just saying to the referees, "You're wrong all the time," when sometimes they're not, and obviously sometimes they are going to be. And it feels like when they are definitively wrong, that's when it should come in and not be, "Oh, there's a decision being made, let's make sure it's okay," and then delay things for 5-10 minutes and try and make sure everything's right and get it wrong half the time. Like, that's not what VAR is for. That's not what it should be for anyway.
And it's not what they said it was going to be for. That's not what the intention was when they did it. They just need to reset to the intention was. It was clear and obvious. It was, we're not re-refereeing. As you said, Grim, there's a guy there that's in the box that is re-refereeing. He's making a different decision and then pressurising the initial referee. He said it's taking too long. There's worries that we're never going to be able to celebrate a goal again. It's just taking away the stuff. It was supposed to take out those clear and obvious errors. We get that there is conjecture. There's always going to be that. No matter what we do, there's going to be that. Opinions are different. That's part of what we love about the game. It's part of what we're able to discuss about it. But we want the clear and obvious. We don't want the nonsense. So it's just it needs a rethink. But we've been saying this for a little while now. I get the feeling this might not be the last time this season that it comes up. Sadly, I don't think it will. And the other one we'll touch on quickly, Sunderland Brentford. Our Ant was supposed to be, unfortunately, he's not been able to make it tonight, but he did. He got a win at Sunderland. Wilson Isidore scoring the day after his wife gave birth as well. So a fantastic story for him. Another big win, Rebecca, for Sunderland. They now have 6 points as they're joint with Everton. So they must be sailing high up the league. It's a good start for them.
Yeah, it's a really positive start. It was a well-deserved win. It just showed the fight, and it was to come back from 1-0 down. I mean, I think we'll touch on it, but Brentford are struggling, and it is quite an iffy time for them, especially at the minute. But for Sunderland to bounce back from the loss to Burnley to then get 2 really late goals, and it just showed the togetherness of the team and that they are going to put up a fight this season, and it is going to be hopefully an exciting one where we do see the likes of Sunderland and Leeds potentially, maybe even Burnley, but that's like one where it's a bit hit or miss. Sorry, Dan, but it will be interesting to see if they're able to fight for survival and actually fight like up the table. But no, very, very happy for Ant, and yeah, it was a good one for Sunderland.
Was indeed a good win for them, as you said. A loss for Brentford as well, so that's 2 losses, but they got the victory over Aston Villa. So they've got a bit of work to do, but again, plenty of transfers going on, which we're going to come to very briefly in a minute. So just have a quick look at the other games that we didn't cover. Of course, Tottenham 0, Bournemouth 1. Tottenham absolutely flying start of the season, but they've been done by Bournemouth. Bournemouth, to be fair to them, completely new backline, new goalkeeper, 2 clean sheets in a row, and a pretty decent performance at Anfield for the most. So a really quality start for Bournemouth. So Heather will be back with us in future weeks, I'm sure. Absolutely ecstatic, and they've done some very good business again. You would imagine their recruitment team don't seem to get it wrong. So a few names, I'm sure, that we'll look forward to seeing in the next few weeks. We have Leeds 0, Newcastle 0. And on to the next game. We have nothing to report there whatsoever. And we have Crystal Palace near. I've got that completely wrong.
You have got it the wrong way around, sir.
Apologies. Aston Villa did not win 3-0. They got punted 3-0.
I bet they wish they did.
I bet they wish they did indeed. They wish that was the result. So, no, apologies, Crystal Palace fans. But yes, you did win 3-0. And the big topic I want to talk on with that, as well as the 3-0 victory, one of the big transfers we hadn't touched on yet. So we'll go big screen for this, shall we? Mark Gahey, Grimmy. Oliver Glasner pulling the fax machine out in the final minutes. It was all happening. It was all going to happen. Medical was done. The deal sheet was in. Everything was in time. And then because Igor Julio went to West Ham, I believe, not to Crystal Palace, Glasner was not happy at all. Mark Gay, he will not be going to Liverpool. What do you make of all of that business?
Glasner pulling a David De Gea scenario and getting rid of the fax machine was a masterstroke, I think. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it looked like it was done and dusted, didn't it? I think everyone was expecting it to happen, especially after sort of didn't want to wave at the fans, but kind of waved at the fans at the end of the game against Villa. But yeah, I fully back Glasner in terms of saying if we're not getting a replacement in, there's no way we can sell this guy because he is so crucial to that defense that if he goes, you're really putting Palace at a dangerous position, especially when they've lost Eze. They've not really invested a lot on that forward line to sort of continue that momentum that they've got. So yeah, keeping Gueye was very important. Obviously, I feel a bit sorry for Gueye because he was obviously wanting the Liverpool move and he was wanting to go. But, these things happen and I'm sure he'll have a big move next summer. But yeah, I think there was a rumor of I think something got rumored or was said or reported or written down somewhere. Maybe it was just me imagining it myself. I don't know. But I think it was something like Glasner had said that if Gueye goes without replacement, he was close to going himself. So it's like, if I'm Palace, I'm doing everything I can to keep hold of Glasner because he's probably the one thing that is working as well as it can without all the backing that he probably needs to push them up further. So yeah, a very bizarre one because again, I think everyone sort of switched off at 7:00 thinking, yeah, it's probably happened now and somehow didn't go through. But yeah, dodgy fax machine strikes again.
Dodgy fax machines, and they've got to keep Glasner happy. They can't afford to, it's one thing to lose it. But this is a massive miss. Gueye's massive, but Glasner.
But this is why I was saying last week, like if I was Nottingham Forest and Nuno ends up going, if Gueye had gone and then Glasner was just pretty much a ball of fury at that point. If I'm Forest, I would go for Glasner because he's gonna maintain what Forest are building, if not improve upon it. And Glasner will get what he wants, which is backing from Marinakis, even though he is a bit of a psycho at times with the things he does in and around that club. But that's a discussion we can have for another day, maybe. Maybe when the Nuno leaving finally gets announced, whenever that's due to happen, and Anjo Jose comes in. But yeah, like I just think Glasner deserves all the backing when he's given Palace the biggest moment, probably their best season ever. Like, why are you not backing him and not giving him sufficient funds or players coming in, really, when you've lost Eze and are probably going to lose Gueye probably in January, like David said in the comment there? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, doesn't make sense. Volta Tony says, I can see Glasner at Arsenal. He looks too much like Wenger. There you go.
No, we'll take him at United.
Yes, I think that might be. There's probably some odds out there, Guimi, that aren't too bad at the minute, I would imagine, for that merry-go-round that could happen. Who knows? Rebecca, transfer window outside of Everton. Anything else catch your eye yesterday that was going on deadline day?
One thing that does make me laugh is Newcastle fans at the minute. Because we've all seen like the situation with Isak and like him sort of forcing the move in terms of like refusing to train, the Instagram posts and everything. So it's like what, but then Wissa has done very similar with Brentford and like that situation. But they've welcomed him with open eyes, being like he's a hero, he's like a true Newcastle player and all of this. And then it's just the way they've treated Isaac going. Like from an outsider's perspective, because we went through it the exact same with Anthony Gordon when he was refusing to turn up to training. So it's just one of them. It's just like, one, how much impact a player has. And I feel as though they have way too much power in terms of this. It should be the club have a bit more say in what happens. But no, I feel like Whistle to Newcastle, the whole situation with it was funny, but I do think that he's a decent replacement at Newcastle. And I do feel as though the new 6'6" is he, that Voltemada is an absolute giant who will be towering every centre back. I think even Everton's with our like 6'5" Gerard Branthwaite, like that's going to be quite an interesting battle. But I do feel
pick up out of him and Dan Burn from a corner now. I mean, it's going to be
danger. I think Leeds as well. I think theirs was a bit of they didn't do anything yesterday. So I feel as though that'll be an interesting one to see if that could affect them with their transfer window. But I do feel like it's been an interesting one. It's been an expensive one for teams. Is it like over 3 billion this season? Not this summer. So I do feel as though each team has been able to add, but it will be interesting to see the knock-on effects with like how they'll fit in and what will happen, and then also when Newcastle have to go to Anfield and the fans, what the reception will be like for Isaac will be an interesting one.
Yes, I think he's probably glad that the St James's Park one is done, that's for sure. But one man who will have the Anfield experience soon will be Mr. Alexander-Arnold, thanks to that Champions League draw. So that's going to be fairly tasty. Beautiful scenes. But yes, we have done the Premier League and transfers. We're going to have a very quick go around Europe because I know it's been long. We've had a lot to cover so far this evening. So we'll quickly show up the table there as well. There we go, third match day. Grimmy, we're on the left-hand side. I can't believe it. Look at that. Above Manchester City. Amazing.
Stop the count.
Rebecca's on the left-hand side.
Everton's getting vertigo.
Heather's on the left-hand side.
Dan's staying up.
Right-hand side, sorry.
Dan's staying up, though.
There we go. Dan's staying up. Look at that. Everyone is kind of happy. So that is the Premier League, which will return after the international break. We'll be back next week covering international football, but the Premier League will be 2 weeks till its return. So we'll go around Europe and find out what happened. La Liga straight away. Real Madrid, they won. They beat Mallorca 2-1. There was some controversy over there. Apparently, 3 disallowed goals and some VAR drama. But drama for VAR at Vallecano against Barcelona because it didn't work. There was technical difference, which some may say was better. I don't know. I'll leave that up to you to decide. Athletic Bilbao, they continue their flawless form, a great win over Real Betis, so that keeps them flying. And elsewhere, you have Valencia with a good 3-0 win, Sevilla with a win over Girona. They needed that. So that makes the table look. Real Madrid are at the top. It's familiar. Athletic Bilbao up there. Villarreal and Barcelona in the top 4 spots. Sevilla jump higher out of the relegation zone. Levante and Girona with no points. Nil point. It's not Spanish, but it means the same. And now we have Serie A. We're going to go through Serie A. A point for Lecce. A point for Lecce at Genoa. Important point for them. 2 goals as well for Napoli. Napoli with a win. We've also got, what else have we got here? We've got Cremonese. Are these the right? I don't know. These are the right fixtures. This happened the other week, didn't it? I don't think these fixtures are right, but
it does say, yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I don't think it's right because that was before. I'm pretty sure Udinese beat Inter Milan, all sorts. We'll go to the table. Ignore the fixtures. Doesn't matter. The table's what matters. Juventus are top and Cremonese do have 2 wins. But what I did want to talk about with Serie A was Jamie Vardy. Vardy. What a move that is. Of all things, who had Jamie Vardy to Cremonese on their bingo card? There's a reason to watch Serie A this season.
Yeah,
intriguing.
100%.
What an intriguing transfer. So we'll shoot straight over to Germany. Bayern Munich with a 3-2 win over Augsburg. Leverkusen chucked away a lead against Werder Bremen, which also means, Grimmy, the end for Eric Ten Hag.
Yeah, bizarre.
2 matches.
2 matches. He's come out with a statement today saying, surprised and disappointed.
Yeah, I would be as well. 2 games and I get sacked. That's like if I did 2 podcasts here and I never came on again.
Yeah, sorry, Grimmy, that wasn't enough. There's no more. There's no more. I mean, clearly they're not aligned in their thinking. And they've said goodbye to it. I mean, that's 3 ex-Man United managers have been sacked in a week.
Yeah.
maybe this is the answer. This is where the Man United management is going. It's a bit like, did you ever watch Power Rangers where they used to have their Zords and then they make a Megazord to fight the Mega Evil? God. It's going to be a amalgamation. You need a bit of Mourinho, a bit of Oli, a bit of Erik ten Hag all in there. But yeah, he won't be in the Bundesliga now, which is sad for him. Sad.
I don't think anything you've ever said to me has hurt me on the podcast, Sam, but that might be the closest thing, that Power Rangers metaphor. That might be the closest thing to pain I've ever felt on this podcast.
When it happens and they take over, you never know. It could be the future. Could be the future. Dortmund, they got victory 3-0 and Cologne beat Freiburg 4-1 as well. St. Pauli, they've started the season pretty well as well. So it's a decent beginning for them. But it's still very early days in the Bundesliga. But it's familiar scenes because Bayern Munich are top of the Bundesliga. What a surprise. What a surprise indeed. Next up, Ligue 1, where there was goals. Goal frenzy. Lord. Good Lord Almighty. There was goals everywhere. With the most probably impressive one was a 7-1 win away from home for Lille over Lorient, which is not good for Lorient. That's pretty pathetic, really, to go down 7-1 at home. I imagine they'll be under all sorts of pressure there. And to lose, well, they did lose. They lost a lot at PSG. Still, I mean, if you score 3 goals at home, yet lose by 3 goals, I mean, a 9-goal thriller, that's your money. That's your money well spent for an afternoon's entertainment. But even down there, we've got a 3-1 Le Havre Nice. We've got 3-2 Monaco Strasbourg. Paris FC versus Metz 3-2. They get their first win as well of the campaign. And so the McDonald's French Liga looks like that. Familiar scenes again. Paris Saint-Germain at the top already. All these teams that are expected to be there seem to be rising. But Brest are down low there, Grimmy. It's not good for Brest.
I was waiting for you to say that.
And that just above Metz. Metz have an even worse season at the moment. But it's early days, as we say. It's early days. Dutch Eredivisie as well. Matchday 4, they're flying in there. PSV lost. PSV lost at home to Telstar. There's a bit of a shocker. Absolute shocker there. 4-0 win for Groningen. NEC, we were tracking their progress because they were unbeaten, but they lost to Fortuna Sittard. It was a Sittard of an afternoon for NEC. It didn't work for them. But Feyenoord go and beat Sparta Rotterdam 4-0. So they're on the way up. And as you can see here, Feyenoord top of La Table. And then NEC and Utrecht in the top 3 positions. PSV and Ajax just underneath at the moment. And there's some game in hands already. I think they did the same as Scotland, Rebecca, where they gave their teams a break, which isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? And finally, we can share the Scottish Premiership.
Oh, I forgot. We've not even got to that bit yet. Oh, my God.
The Scottish Prem.
Okay. Strap in, folks. This is going to be a journey of epic proportions.
It's ready there, like an encore. So here we are. And here it is. It is McBecker's Scottish Premier League Roundup.
What graphic work.
Look at that. An official McBecker Scottish Premiership Roundup graphic with the Dundee official stadium in the background as well.
One thing I will say, she never looks that happy generally. So
this is it. She wasn't too happy after the derby.
Especially when it's Dundee.
With the plane, with her game 2 flying in the background as well. It's all there. But here we are, Rebecca's roundup for Scottish Premiership.
Yeah, it's quite painful to look at that. Week 4 of the Scottish Prem, we saw the first Dundee and Old Firm derby of the season, and a weekend that had a bit of everything. Points were shared at Fir Park after Kilmarnock equalised in the 81st minute to draw 2-2 with Motherwell. Hearts secured all 3 points away to Livingston with a 91st minute winner. It was quite heartbreaking for Livingston. They're doing well at the minute. They are fighting, but Hearts just were able to top it. The first Old Firm derby of the season finished 0-0 with not much to say on it. It was just one of them. Went into it expecting way too much and got nothing. Especially after Rangers recently. It has been a very, very tough period for them. So to pick up 0-0 against Celtic will be more positive for them than Celtic. St Mirren and Hibs finished 1-1 with both goals coming in the second half, just 9 minutes apart. Falkirk secured all 3 points away to Aberdeen through a 75th minute goal from substitute Kyril Wilson, and Aberdeen did see Nicky Devlin sent off in the first half. Now, the one that I do not want to talk about, but have to, the Dundee derby. United secured all 3 points away at Dundee.
United.
2 wins, Sam. 2 wins.
It was not a fun derby at all for me. I mean, the only positive was Ethan Hamilton made his Dundee debut, so that was good. But Dundee are still without a win in the league, so all good things are happening. We just couldn't get into the match properly, moving the ball too slow. 1-0 down at half-time, you're thinking, right, make the subs, we can come out and fight for this and potentially get a draw or a late winner. You just never know with Dundee, especially with like picking up a point away at Rangers, getting a draw last week against, I can't even remember who it was. I do apologise. But no, I think altogether we had 2 shots on target. One of them was more of a back pass than an actual shot. There is a lot to work on from a Dundee perspective. There's also still a lot of unrest behind the scenes. I mean, bringing in a manager that used to play for Dundee United to then get beat off Dundee United isn't sitting well with fans. We saw Ethan Ingram and Aaron Donnelly being left out of the side, but they did play within the reserves Tuesday night. So again, there's a bit of whether they're injured or just not being played, we don't know. Subs didn't work at all. Listening to the commentators, it was a case of they were saying the 2 players playing in the number 10 role for Dundee just weren't up for it. And then we decided to not bring on our number 10 in Finlay Robertson until after the second goal. Make of that what you will. I'm still confused by. It was a match that was screaming out for Finlay Robertson to try and break down the defence and just try and create something positive. There was hardly anything into Simon Murray either. It was just a very, very hard watch. And you know that when my dad, who absolutely hates F1, says he would rather have watched the F1 than the Dundee derby, it was that entertaining. So yeah, heading into the international break, it has come at the perfect time for Dundee. Changes need to be made, things need to happen. Hopefully come back in these after it and things can be better. But I feel like we're in for another relegation scrap, so buckle yourself in for a long season on the podcast. But Ryan did play, I know it's not really a great thing because he is a centre-back and they conceded 2. Ryan did play a full 90 and started, so that was always good. And the first goal, the keeper should have had. So that's all I can say. I hope you enjoyed my rant and my Scottish Prem roundup.
That's all she could say.
That's
2-0. Imagine what it'd be like if it was 5-0.
Exactly. It was only the 2. And there we are. Yeah, Dundee, they're not bottom. They're not bottom. It's positive.
Yay.
It's positive.
We're in the relegation playoff spot.
That's an extra game. You get an extra game at the end of the season. How exciting. David says in the chat that his Scottish team is St Johnstone only because he went to St John's School. Yeah, very like it. I like it. How did you pick your Scottish team? So Rebecca, I'm sure, was told her Dundee. Grimmy and I, we need to find one. We need to find our Scottish teams. I think I'm going to go for Motherwell because my grandma always used to love Motherwell because it just sounded lovely. So I'll go for Motherwell. Plus, you can't say Motherwell at work because if you do that, then you have to answer Motherwell. Yes, she's fine. Thanks for asking. So Motherwell cannot be named. Grimmy, any particular Scottish team you want to follow?
Not United.
How dare you even suggest I would say something clearly abhorrent and disgusting as support a rival team of yours, Rebecca? I'd probably have to go for the Spartans that are in Division 2 or 3. because obviously I'm a Blythe
Don't
Spartans
say
follower.
that. Rebecca's going to want to cover all 4 divisions.
I've already said,
in the morning.
if Dundee are to get relegated,
Oh,
I'm going to end up having to cover them on the lower league.
No. What's going to happen is you're getting your own Scottish Scottish Roundup podcast, and you're allowed to just speak on them for an hour solo. There you go.
It will be.
Just like
The
45 minutes hour. Just on Dundee and then the rest on everyone else.
It's your show. You can do what you want, Rebecca.
It could work.
She's like, this is an interesting concept.
What is really annoying is the fact that Dundee lost, because today would have been the debut of the graphic, and I also got a Dundee shirt for my birthday, so I could have worn that on the podcast. But they decided, let's not play great and get beat in a derby.
Oh no, you've got to wear your shirt of pride even when you lose, Rebecca. You can't pick and choose when the shirt goes on.
Oh, you can't.
Take the rough and the smooth.
I turned up to my badminton. I played in a badminton match 2 hours after Man United lost in that 7-0 game to Liverpool. I showed up and I still went about it. I got mocked for 2 hours. I won the match, may I add, purely because I was full of rage by that point. That's probably what fueled it. But I still showed up. I still showed my support despite that. So, you've got to lead from the front, Rebecca. That's what I learned.
This is it.
I spoke about them. That's enough.
Through gritted teeth, sometimes it has to be dealt with. But Aaron did ask me this. He says, "Does Sam want Man United to appeal the Grimsby?" I presume an ineligible player, because the eligible player was fines, but the ineligible. No, I think, to be fair, I did enjoy some of the back and forth today. I saw about it, and kind of the panic, I think, at first of, oh no, and then the United fans were kind of giving it a little sort of back, going, oh yeah. But to be honest, no, it's for United. I think you just have to accept what it is. And we have to try and move on from it, even though everyone else doesn't want to. Understandably so. But no, it is what it is. Yeah, a minute past the deadline to put the forms in. I mean, I'm sure there was some that went in even later last night and have gone through. So I wouldn't worry about it. But we've talked about it all. We've done it all. We've done Premier League. We've done transfers. We've done Europe. We've done Scotland and Dundee and lots of Scotland. But we've done it all. We've covered everything. We've managed to do, and I couldn't have done it without my co-hosts, the super Grimmy. Where can, should, would, will people find you?
So 2 main places, 3 main places, I guess. Twitter, I'm down as Grimmy16, or X, as the cool kids call it nowadays. If you want to see the ramblings of an insane mid-30s man, feel free to follow me on there. The second place you can find me is on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel by the name of Saint Grimmy, which is what I've highlighted here. That's mainly to do with my sports card collecting hobby, which my wife calls an addiction at this point. Take that as you see fit. And yes, really enjoying doing videos for that and sort of growing the collection and really getting to know the hobby properly, because it's only been a few months and there are a couple of friends who we know, Sam, who are to blame for this. So I have them to thank and to shake my fist of fury at my bank account at. The other one is the wrestling podcast I'm part of with our good friend Bragster, which is called Taking the Pin. And we've just put a video out today reviewing Clash in Paris. And discussing how the show was and the aftermath and what could be coming next, which I know we've also discussed over our Twitter DM, Sam. So, yes, if you want to follow me there, and please don't hate me for any outlandish things I do say on there.
There you go. Plenty of Grimmy stuff to follow. And, of course, Rebecca is doing a number of things as well. We can only follow all of your stuff.
Yeah, you can find my personal TikTok and Twitter, which is _Rebecca_shot_. You can find all of my Her Game 2 content at ASFC_Her Game 2, in which there is a very exciting announcement coming out this week, which I'm really proud of. So we've got a little something coming out tomorrow, Thursday, and hopefully Friday, just finalising it all today. So that's really exciting. You can find my F1 content along with the amazing Jen, who is on the lower league show, and that is Girls in the Grandstand.
There you go. Plenty. And you can find me, if you so wish or want to, at SamAbsoluteFBL on Twitter, on TikTok, on YouTube as well. I have my own channel. There will be a video coming, hopefully, in the very near future, doing a bit of a piece on Bournemouth's transfer window. So I'm going to delve a little bit deeper into what they've been doing and some of the deals that they've done, which is all very, very exciting. And of course, thank you to the chat. David says, if he didn't have us, he'd have nothing but yourself. And we have you, David. And that's amazing to have you here. Thanks to Shah. Great show as always, team. And Shah is dropping some fantastic knowledge in the chat, saying, really random as well. Has anybody seen that Sergio Ramos has released a song? No, I haven't. And where is the link to see this? Because that will be happening after the pod. There's no doubt about that. All over that.
That's my new morning alarm.
The Sergio Ramos rap. That's what we need. That's what we all need in our life. But what you definitely do need in your life is more of the Absolute Football podcast. And this is where you can find it all on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8:30 p.m. live. We have on Monday the Absolutely Non-League show with Shah, talking about National League North and South. It's in partnership with NL Full Time. They were live last night, so you can check that on the YouTube channel. We have, of course, the Absolutely Premier League show. We'll be back next Tuesday, even though there is no Premier League. We'll be talking about international football. We may have to find a little bit more to talk about than just England and Andorra, but I'm sure we'll find something to chat about. We've got the Absolutely Women's Football show on a Wednesday with WSL2 season preview tomorrow night with Freya and Team Chaos. And on Thursday is the Absolutely Lower League show. Shah is back again with the Rowdy Rabble, talking everything Championship, League One and League Two. You can be a YouTube member. You can be part of the clan. You get some benefits in terms of you get to some special episodes and behind the scenes stuff that we're doing with the team. You get badges and emojis in the chat. How exciting. And you get special highlighted comments. All sorts of stuff is in there. So do check that out if you'd like to become a member. And we are, yes, everywhere. We're on Twitter, Absolute Ball Pod, YouTube, Absolute Football Podcast, and the same on Twitch. TikTok, Absolute Football Pod, Instagram, Absolute Football Podcast _ Blue Sky, too many words, Blue Sky, Absolute Football, and Facebook, the Absolute Football Podcast. And there you go. Alan saying as well, Wales are away at Kazakhstan this Thursday, so you know.
I was gonna say I'll cover I'll cover other than England. We can have Scotland, we can have Wales, Northern Ireland if you want.
This is it. We'll have Muckrook Becker's international roundup, and we'll pick you some teams to go and do some research on during the international breaks. There we are. But thank you to everybody. Have a wonderful week. Enjoy the foosball, and we will catch you on the next one. Ciao for now.